Well, it looks like the conflict in Kashmir is heating up again. There was a bomb that went off last week or so that killed 37 Indian soldiers. Kashmir, of course, was one of the most disputed areas after the partition of India in 47, and the Indians and the Pakistanis have been quite tense with regard to Kashmir's status ever since. The region has a Muslim majority and a Hindu minority, and of course India is a majority Hindu country, so there are many in Kashmir who are Muslims and would rather be a part of Pakistan, which was, of course, if you remember, intended to be the sanctuary of Muslim Indians after the partition. So, after this latest attack, the Indian government has blamed a terror group called, I believe it's Jaish-e-Mohammed, and so, of course, this is a terror group that is dedicated to getting India out of Kashmir. Don't want their troops around, so when they had the opportunity, they decided to blow up a few of them when they were parading around in their convoy. So the Indians now are linking this terror group to Pakistan. Now, apparently the group is based in Pakistan, but the Pakistani government does not claim any affiliation to them and says, oh, we don't back any terrorists, which, I mean, that on its face is plainly untrue. I mean, Pakistan, like many governments around the world, will provide some aid to terrorists who are doing things that they approve of. U.S. does it, China does it, Russia does it, Syria does it, Iran does it, everybody does it, Saudi Arabia especially, so Pakistan too. And now I don't know for a fact that Pakistan was supporting this group. I have no reason to think one way or the other. They very well might have, and very well might have not. But all that matters is that India thinks that they did. And they're very clearly making many preparations for war as we speak. They've put the hospital staff on high alert and informed them that in the coming weeks they may not be able to leave their posts, the medical staff, unless they get specific instruction from the military, which would seem to clue us in that perhaps the Indian government is expecting a lot of people to be hospitalized for some reason. And the police in Kashmir have also been rounding up separatists and throwing them in jail, I guess to keep them from fighting on the side of the Pakistanis in the case of an outbreak of a war coming up. Now, India and Pakistan are both nuclear powers, and we've never really seen a full-scale war between nuclear powers. I certainly hope that the Indian and Pakistani government are both reasonable enough not to engage their nuclear arsenal if some kind of combat were to break out. But I mean, it is, on the face of it, it is pretty ridiculous that these two countries would even come so close to going to war, because you can't really trust the other side not to use their nukes. I think it's pretty grossly irresponsible. I mean, I don't care if India came down to it and they had to end up pulling out of Kashmir. They should do everything that they can to keep their country out of a nuclear war, because think of all the people who do not live in Kashmir, who would be turned into a sheet of glass so that India can protect its stake there. I mean, if I live in Delhi or Mumbai, I really don't want to get nuked over Kashmir. India is a massive country. So I'm sure there are many people, many millions and millions of people, considering that India has a population of, I think, over 1 billion now. I'm sure there are plenty of millions of people who don't want to die for Kashmir. So there should in no way ever be any sort of war with Pakistan on the table over this issue. But frankly, there's always going to be conflict between India and Pakistan as long as one of them controls Kashmir, because they each have their reasons for wanting to be there. Kashmir is kind of like Kosovo, I think, for India. Even though the Hindus are a 20% minority, there's a lot of historical importance there, and old temples and things in Hinduism, because of course the whole place was India for hundreds of years. The British just partitioned it on religious grounds, but Hindus and Muslims had coexisted for a long time. But nevertheless, for historical reasons and patriotic reasons, the Hindus do not want to give up Kashmir to the Muslim majority. What I think would be probably the best solution, short of both countries jettisoning the conflict and never thinking about it again, would be some sort of condominium status in which India and Pakistan both nominally hold sovereignty over Kashmir, but letting the internal affairs sort of be dictated by the residents there. Now, the Hindus would not like that since they are in the minority. However, the agreement could be structured in a way to protect the Hindu minority, and there could be some terms in the agreement that both India and Pakistan vow to intervene if either of the sides tries to oppress the other. If the two sides could come together to try and protect each other's interests in the region. And I think that would be a much better solution than one of them just trying to hold a hegemonic control over the area, much to the chagrin of the other. So rather than oppressing your neighbor before he oppresses you, perhaps you could both just agree to live in peace. Now, short of condominium status, I think full independence would also be preferable to the current situation. But again, like I said, then you have the problem of the Muslim majority potentially oppressing the Hindus, or frankly siding with Pakistan in a lot of the areas and sort of turning the country into a de facto Pakistani puppet state. The Indians, of course, wouldn't like that, which is why I think the condominium status is probably the optimal route to go. And there's also the risk that once independent, Kashmir could just, the Muslim majority could vote to join Pakistan, and then Pakistan will have then annexed Kashmir, and India will have lost everything. If you've made it this far, please do like this video and hit that subscribe button. I very much appreciate it. And please comment your thoughts down below, because I'm not an India-Pakistan expert, so I'm very interested to hear everybody else's thoughts on the matter. And have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow.